Hiya. Today I thought I would talk to you about assumptions because it's a topic that arises with the majority of coaching clients that I work with, and it can be really unhelpful to you, to other people, and to any situation really. Now, an assumption is basically when you guess the piece of information that you're missing. It's like there's a gap in what you know and the information that you have, and so you need to plug that gap. But that information that you're using is based solely on what you think the next logical step, reaction, or response would be, or you're guessing that of other people, but it's based on your perspective alone. But the reality is that you're just making an assumption and you haven't actually checked if your thinking's correct or not, and you don't actually have the evidence to support that thinking. But before you start beating yourself up about this, you should know that making assumptions is actually very natural. We all do it, and our brains are actually wired to do it. You know, we all automatically look for that missing piece of information to plug the gap so that we can tell ourselves that we've got the full picture to make a decision or draw a conclusion from, or we know why others have behaved or responded in a particular way. The danger of making assumptions is that it can play into the stories that we're already telling ourselves in our heads, that we're not good enough, that we haven't done enough, that someone else could have done better. But the reality is that those assumptions are then reinforcing the stories that are most likely not true in the first place. So it becomes really difficult for you to be confident in your capabilities to make decisions or provide responses. And it can also mean that you take actions based on false information. So I encourage you to try to be aware of when you're making assumptions. Whilst it is natural and everyone does it, more often than not, as I said, they're negative in context and connotations, and that actually takes up a lot of energy. And that's energy that could be spent in more valuable ways for you. So my advice is to try to be aware of when you're making assumptions in absence of facts. So learn to stop yourself and ask, do I know if this is true or factual? If so, what's this actually based on, and what were the exact words that were used? If you still believe it to be fact, what do you want to do about it? And how can you prevent this from having a negative impact on you? If you're not sure if it's true or if it is a fact, and are you able to gain any clarity? If so, from whom? And what do you need to ask them? If you're not able to gain clarity, or you just feel you're not quite ready to reach out for that yet, then change the story and reframe it in your head. You know, you can tell yourself you don't know what other people were thinking or why they behaved in a certain way. It's okay as well to tell yourself these are the facts that I do know, even if it is only part of the story. And try to teach yourself to be comfortable that you're not always going to have every single piece of information that you need or want. A lot of development is actually about getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. So if you approach it in this way, then over time it will become habit to check your assumptions, and it's something that you can start to become less conscious of.